Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank you all for coming here today. I'm so happy that so many of you could make it today. Before we begin, let me introduce myself briefly. I am Muhammad Hafizh, the student of Islamic Education Department of UIN Maulana Malik Ibrahim Malang, in class Islamic Education Department, class I. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is Biography of Imam Syafi'i. I will begin by birth and his family life. Then, I will continue by his period of study. Finally, I will explain the scientific papers of him. First of all, I will explain by birth and family lifetime of Imam Syafi'i, and then I will continue by his period of study. Finally, I will explain that scientific of him. My presentation will take about 15 minutes. I will be handing out copies of the PowerPoint slides at the end of my talk, and there will be time for questions after my presentation. Do you know the history of Imam Syafi'i? Do you know the cause of the collapse of the knowledge? Many people today are Muslim, but far from learning history from previous figures in the past. It was a lesson for the people of the future, so that an event would not be repeated. In this part of my presentation, I would like to tell you about Abu Abdullah Muhammad bin Idris Asy-Syafi'i al-Muttalibi al-Qurashi, or in short, Imam Asy-Syafi'i. He was born in Gaza, Palestine, 150 Hijriah, and died in Futsat, aged 205 Hijriah. He is a great Sunni Islam Mufti and also the founder of Mazhab Syafi'i. Idris bin Abbas accompanied his wife on a journey that was quite far, namely to the village of Gaza, Palestine, where at the time the Muslims were fighting to defend the Islamic country in the city of Ascalon. At the time, Fatimah al-Azdiyah was pregnant. Idris bin Abbas was happy with this. Then he said, "If you give birth to a son, then I will give name to the Muhammad, and I will call by name of the one of his grandfathers, Syafi'i bin Aisha." Finally, Fatimah gave birth in Gaza, and his father's dream proved to be. The child was called Muhammad and was called as Syafi'i. And Idris, Imam Syafi'i's father, was in Hijaz. Let's move on to the next point. Imam Syafi'i is a descendant of Al-Muttalib, so he is included in the Bani Muttalib. His nasab is Muhammad bin Idris bin Al-Abbas bin Uthman bin Syafi'i bin Sa'ib bin Ubaid bin Abdi Yazid bin Hashim bin Al-Muttalib bin Abdul Manaf bin Hushai bin Kilab bin Murrah bin Ka'ab bin Lu'ay bin Ghalib bin Fir bin Malik bin An-Nadr bin Kinana bin Kuzaimah bin Mudrikah bin Ilyas bin Mudar bin Nizar bin Ma'ad bin Adnan. Then his scripture met Rasulullah at Abdul Manaf. From the text, Al-Muttalib bin Abdi Manaf, the grandfather of Muhammad bin Idris Syafi'i, was the sibling of Hashim bin Abdi Manaf, the grandfather of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After Imam Syafi'i's father died and 2 years of his birth, his mother took him to Mecca, the homeland of the ancestors. He grew up there, orphaned. In Mecca, Imam Syafi'i studied fiqh from the mufti there, Muslim bin Khalid Az-Zanji. So he allowed him to give fatwa when he was 15 years old, for the sake of him testing the sweetness of knowledge with the tawfiq of Allah and His guardians. He began to enjoy studying fiqh after becoming a character in Arabic. This orphan teenager learned fiqh from the ulama fiqh in Makkah, such as Muslim bin Khalid Az-Zanji, who at that time was the mufti of Makkah. Then he went to Medina and studied here from Imam Malik bin Anas. He recited the Muwatta book to Imam Malik and memorized it in 9 nights. Imam Syafi'i narrated hadith from Sufyan bin Uyainah, Fudail bin Iyad, and his uncle Muhammad bin Syafi'i and others. In this assembly, Imam Syafi'i memorized and understood Imam Malik's book brilliantly, namely Al-Muwatta. His intelligence made Imam Malik really admire him. Meanwhile, Syafi'i himself was very impressed and greatly admired Imam Malik in Al-Madinah and Imam Sufyan bin Uyainah in Makkah. Imam Syafi'i expressed his admiration after becoming an imam with his famous statement, which reads, "If there were not Malik bin Anas and Sufyan bin Uyainah, surely the knowledge of the Hijaz will be lost." Also, he further expressed his admiration for Imam Malik, where Imam Malik comes to an assembly. Then Malik became a star in that assembly. He was also impressed with the book Al-Muwatta. Imam Malik that he stated there is no book more useful after Al-Quran more than the book of Al-Muwatta. He also stated, "I do not read Al-Muwatta, Malik, unless my understanding must increase." Then Imam Syafi'i went to Yemen and worked there for a while. He met a series of Yemen scholars and many others. From Yemen, he continued his scientific tour to the city of Baghdad in Iraq, and in this city he took a lot of knowledge from Muhammad bin al-Hasan, a fiqh expert in the country of Iraq. Also, he took knowledge from Ismail bin Ulayyah and Abdul Wahab as-Saqafi and others. Then he went to Baghdad 183 and 195, where he learned from Muhammad bin Hassan. He had an exchange of ideas which made Khalid al-Rashid in Egypt. In Egypt, Imam Syafi'i met Imam Malik's student Muhammad bin Abdullah bin Abdul Hakim. In addition, Imam Syafi'i has several works, including Ar-Risalah. One of his essays is Ar-Risalah, the first book on usul fiqh, and the book which contains his new fiqh school. Imam Syafi'i is an absolute mujtahid, Imam of fiqh, hadith, and usul. He was able to combine fiqh of Iraqi experts and fiqh expert of Hijaz. Imam Ahmad said, he is the most faqih in Al-Quran and Sunnah to the Imam Syafi'i. No one has ever held a pen and ink. The man is knowledge, but Allah gave him on Syafi'i's neck. The second is Al-Hujjah. The book Al-Hujjah, which is the old school of thought, was learned by 4 Iraqi Imams. That is, they are Imam bin Hanbal, Ahmad bin Hanbal, Abu Thawr, Za'frani, Al-Qarabishi from Imam Syafi'i. The third is Al-Umm as the new school of Imam Syafi'i was learned by his followers in Egypt: Al-Muzani, Al-Buwaiti, Ar-Rabi, Jisi bin Sulaiman. Well, this brings me to the end of my presentation. I'd like to run through my main points again. That Imam Syafi'i was born in Gaza, Palestine, 150 Hijriah to Futsat, HD 205 Hijriah. He is a great Sunni Islamic Mufti. When child, he called Muhammad and was called As-Syafi'i. His nasab is Muhammad bin Idris bin Al-Abbas bin Uthman bin Syafi'i bin As-Sa'id bin Ubaid bin Abdi Yazid bin Hisham bin Hashim bin Al-Muttalib bin Abdul Manaf bin Khushay bin Kilab bin Murrah bin Ka'ab bin Lu'ay bin Qalib bin Fihr bin Malik bin An-Nadr bin Kinanah bin Kuzaimah bin Mudrikah bin Ilyas bin Mudar bin Nizar bin Ma'ad bin Adnan. His scripture met Rasulullah at Abdul Manaf. After Imam Syafi'i's father died, and 2 years later of his birth, his mother took him to Makkah. He is studying with Khalid Zanji. Then he went to Medina and studied fiqh from Imam Malik. After that, he went to Yemen, Iraq, and Egypt. And he has some papers. There are Risalah, Mazhab Syafi'i, Al-Hujjah, and Al-Umm. Now, I'll be happy to answer any question you may have. Thank you very much.